The Sadhu's Secret, written by Ravindra Bhale Rao, published in the year 2008. After a brief halt, the Punjab mail pulled gently out of Ambala Cantonment Station. I glanced at the kids seated on the berth opposite. Minu and Manbir had already gorged themselves on ice cream bought at the station, and before the train moved on, they had persuaded their parents that it would make sound sense to stock up on an extra pair of ice cream cones for the journey ahead. Now the train had begun to race across the outskirts of the town, and as the wheels rattled faster and faster, the ice cream cones were fast diminishing in size. The Sardarji and his wife leaned back against their seats contentedly, watching the scenery through the window rush by. Papaji, said Manbir all of a sudden, peering over the edge of the berth, see, there is a Sadhuji at the end of the coach. The Sardarji leaned, and so did I. Sure enough, a Sadhu Baba dressed in saffron clothes and sporting a long beard was staggering his way towards us. He carried in his hand several chains made of thick, multicolored beads, and he chanted away a strange mantra I could not understand. None of the passengers paid much heed to the poor chap, so he staggered along till he came up to us. Jai Bajrangbali, cried the Sadhu with a flourish of his hand. The Sardarji and his wife looked up, and seeing this, the Sadhu immediately took a seat beside the kids and belted out his holy mantra. The Sardarni seemed greatly interested. She leaned over and whispered to her husband, who nodded. Babaji, said the Sardarni, after the Sadhu had settled down and looked around wisely, my son Manbir has trouble with his lessons. He forgets things so easily. Is there something you could do for him? Bas, itne si baat? The Sadhu asked. बाबा के पास हर कोई चमत्कार मिलेगा, डरने की कोई बात नहीं. He drew out a tiny bottle from his tattered bag, polished it with a piece of cloth, and chanted a mantra over it. Then he set it upon the berth opposite. It is only 25 rupees. Give your munna a few drops each day mixed with milk, he said. You will find a marked improvement in his memory and powers of concentration. And to prove his point, the Baba drew out a sheet of paper and a pen, which he offered to the Sardarji. Write down in serial order any 10 objects you can think of, he said. The Sardarji looked nonplussed, but he did as he was told. His list began chair, fruit, fridge, and so on up to the 10th object. The sadhu studied the sheet of paper briefly and then gave it back to the Sardarji. And now he declared, I will show you what miraculous powers my potion can bestow on a person. And saying this, he began reciting one by one the objects the Sardarji had set down in the list. The fifth object is pen stand, and the eighth is suitcase, right? We were all left dumbfounded at this remarkable feat of memory. How could the man recite the list forward, then backwards, even calling out objects at random? Was he a genius, or was it a special power he had acquired with long hours of meditation? Years later, when I discovered the ridiculously simple secret, I couldn't help feeling sorry for the Sardarji and his wife and the potion they believed to have magical powers given by the sadhu. There is nothing magical about recalling a set of 10 objects, and it certainly doesn't require one to possess an intelligence beyond the ordinary. The method lies in memorizing a set of pictures to associate with each of the numbers from 1 to 10. Thus, number 1 could be linked to bun, number 2 with Jew, number 3 with tree, and number 4 with door. Now, suppose the fourth object in the list is clock. We simply make up a picture story which says something like, she threw open the door and found herself staring at the clock. Now, when you are asked what the fourth object is, ask yourself what the girl saw when she opened the door, and hey presto, you come up with the clock. It is as plain as that. It is a memory trick anyone can practice with pleasure and profit, and should be on the fingertips of every schoolboy before he is 10. Thank you for listening. Now some of the words and their meanings. After a brief halt, the Punjab mail pulled gently out of Ambala cantonment station. I glanced at the kids seated on the berth opposite. Minu and Manbir had already gorged themselves on ice cream. Gorge on something means to eat something eagerly and usually to excess. To stuff oneself with something. Papaji, said Manbir all of a sudden, peering over the edge of the berth. Peer over something means to glance, to stare. Jai Bajrangbali, cried the sadhu with a flourish of his hand. Flourish means to wave something in the air so that people will notice it. The Sardarji and his wife looked up, and seeing this, the sadhu immediately took a seat beside the kids and belted out his holy mantra. Belt out means sing or play a song loudly and forcefully. We were all left dumbfounded at this remarkable feat of memory. Dumbfounded means very surprised. Now, when you are asked what the fourth object is, ask yourself what the girl saw when she opened the door, and hey presto, it is said when something appears or happens so quickly or so easily that seems to be magic. Thank you very much.